Welcome to Expedient Means at Lin Wei and Time on Radio. Lin currently resides in China and is the founder and head teacher of Guizhou Philo-Cultural Society. He has extensive experience in Buddhist and Taoist meditation, Qigong, martial arts, and traditional Chinese medicine. To learn more about Lin, please visit his website at www.guizhenhui.net. Tonight, Lin will be speaking about eliminating the imposition of one's will on others. So, welcome back, Lin.
Hey now.
And this, I should say, is going to be part of a series on the Noble Way.
Yes, the noble way of cultivation, which is a noble way of cultivating what is inherently present in each and every person: wisdom, compassion, and patience, and adding a little bit of direction and guidance for one to do that. So elimination of oneself, and then you have several things to work on. Today we're talking about imposing one's will on others. That's the first thing we should start working on when we want to really start cultivating a very virtuous and good conduct kind of way, at least laying the foundation for one's cultivation to have a good start, basically. So more like looking inside.
If there's a noble way, wouldn't that imply that there's sort of an ignoble way or less noble?
Well, of course, you're fighting fire with fire in our world of endurance. You know, if that's the case, then everyone can just get right to it and say, okay, you know what, everything is good, done, boom, and go right to the point and wake up. But no, it doesn't work that way. We have to fight fire with fire sometimes.
Okay.
And this is what we're doing.
All right, so tonight's topic, I guess, eliminating the imposition of one's will on others. So what the hell does that mean? where are you going with this stuff?
Saying when you go through the drive-thru and you give the person the money they owe you, they should give you the French fries and hamburger on time, warm, with a side order of Coke and all the other goodies.
We both know that.
And extra barbecue sauce. Extra barbecue sauce. Has got that. You have to get that. Kidding. Imposing one's will. Really, it's just that. Trying to make other people do what you want them to do. Try to get what you want to get from other people. Or try to get what you want from other things around you. Basically, that's it. But there's a lot more to discuss on that because it goes into very many different aspects of a person's whole entire psyche, which we're not going to go into all the psychological, investigation here. We're just going to give a general idea. You see, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, what's bad about imposing your will? What if? I'll save that curveball.
Okay, you know what? Let me just put a lock and chain over your neck and whip you a few times until you clean my floors nice and spick and span. See if anything's wrong with that.
Well, okay, I'll throw the curveball now then. What if your will is actually for the other person's benefit or for the greater good?
I love that question because it turns around and says, I have the greater good. I'm doing things for the greater good of this animal to save it from the rest of animal existence and set its spirit free. So I'm going to kill it. Because it's the greater good. I just put it this way. If it's the greater good, then people would get it and come right to you and say, give it to me.
Give it to me, baby.
Look, when the greater good, we know it's really good for people to have specific things. But you can't force them to accept that. You can't force, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Right.
So no matter how good it is for someone, you still have to let them come to the realization that it's necessary. You could influence them in positive ways, but you can't push them to accept it.
It's, I guess, sort of, again, like that saying, you can't force somebody to wake up, right? They've got to kind of do it on their own.
They got to do it on their own. Look, in my school where I'm at now, I have the position of creating programs for the teachers and students for cultivation, which is amazingly great. So they come in and they sit and meditate. They come and sit, practice Qigong. They sit and talk about personal things, and we work through cultivation together. But I can't make it a mandatory class, though the school had asked me to. I said, no, it has to be an interest class. So I made made flyers, and I sent it to every classroom, and I welcomed everyone to come. And after about 2 weeks of having it be empty, my little cultivation hall, one after the other, kids were coming. And then another department which I work in, this is the cultural department, wanted me to teach a class for meditation. Now, every afternoon, you have several kids coming into the cultural department, which is a gigantic room and a whole entire program, sitting and meditating every day. More and more kids are coming to my specific program I laid out for kids to practice cultivation, qigong, meditation, self-reflection, tai chi, twice a week. Now I got kids from other programs of basketball and sports and whatever asking to join up. Naturally, you just leave it out there. You can't push it on people. Cultivation is selective. It's selective for those who have the affinities for it.
Just make it look mysterious and hidden secret promises of powers and stuff. That'll reel them in.
It's just funny. I just get kids going, hey, is this all just Tai Chi? I said, I don't know. If you're interested in what we got, you just come. Some kids will come in, and then it's like their second class. They're talking to trees. And they're like, wow, this tree feels totally different than the other tree. And another kid said, this tree is pushing me away. It doesn't really want me to give it any energy. It doesn't want me to, accept it. It's just pushing me away every time I send it energy. And I just sit there and I love hearing that, because before, when I would say it to myself, thinking people would think I'm crazy. Now I can give these kids an outlet to say those things and really tell me they're experiencing this.
That must be an evil tree. They should probably chop that one down.
Yeah. He's like, teacher, I don't know what's going on here. I'm sending it all this, feeling of acceptance and compassion and acknowledgement, but I just feel like it's pushing me away. It doesn't want me to. I was like, because you probably, I said in a nice way, basically. I said, you're probably an asshole. I said, you probably have a really terrible, characteristics when it comes to your person. You probably talk too much. You probably talk too much about yourself, making yourself look out to be much better than usual. And he looked at me with this face that goes, damn, you hit me right on the head. I said, give it some time. The tree is like a human in the sense of it has to get used to you and realize that you're not so much of a pain in the butt.
You can't make a woman love you, right? or a tree for that matter.
There you go.
Which I guess almost comes back to our topic about imposing your will. And
there you go. So here the kid was like, I wanted to pay attention and acknowledge and send light and love basically to this tree, and it didn't want to accept it. It just kept pushing me away. And I said, so what did you do? He goes, I didn't know what I should have done. Should I have kept pushing myself on it, or should I just stop? I said, so what did you do then? He goes, I just sat there confused, and I just let its feeling of pushing me away push me away. I says, well, that's good. That's very good of you. And other kids are like, I felt really good. Because I felt good. The tree really liked me.
Yeah, because hitting the tree is just painful.
Yeah, so, you can't push whatever you think is good on others. And you can't push whatever you think is bad on others, because it always causes conflict. No matter what you do, it's always a sense of greed, anger, and ignorance or stupidity. Whatever we do when it comes to making other people do. Now, when we know for like children, okay.
You just did it again.
I hope so, because I heard something in my mind that said children. And that's why I said this. When we talk about children don't have the wise discrimination in terms of worldly wisdom. There's worldly wisdom, then there's actual wisdom. Okay, worldly wisdom means understanding how things go in the world, like, what you should do to get that and what you should do to have this thing happen, and don't go in the bad neighborhoods and because you probably get shot. Don't run in front of a car, how to, invest in the stock market. These things are worldly wisdom. It does take a genius for a lot of things, but it doesn't take a genius on basic things. But then there's real wisdom, which is inherent wisdom. Now, children don't have the wise discrimination until they experience something. So they don't know it's bad to, open the window and crawl out the window and fall 3 floors down. They don't think that's going to be painful until they hit the ground. And if they're alive afterwards, and they know that's not a nice thing to do, So we usually try to stop them. Even the Buddha did that when he saw a kid hanging over a well, looking down the well, and he knew that this kid is going to fall down. So he said, child, come here. Look, I have candy for you. Come here, child. I have some candy for you. And the kid said, oh, yay, candy. And he ran away. to grab the candy from the Buddha's hand. But the Buddha opened his hand and said, oops, no candy. Sorry. Now, the Buddha lied to the kid, but he lied because the higher good for that child was to not suffer, drowning in the well. That the Buddha said, hey, don't do that. The kid would get scared, probably freeze and slip and fall it anyway. So instead of doing that, he goes, hey, I have some candy. You want some, little boy? You want some candy? And the kid's like, oh, candy, yay. He was all peaceful and safe. And then when he got off the thing and got close to the Buddha, he's like, sorry, no candy for you, haha. So these things, we can say that it's imposition. But the good of it is that there is no harm. That imposition is not for one's personal gain. So you see that there is a very, very much of a need for explanation in these things. When I talk about imposing one's will, it's about getting your own personal gain.
All right, I'm gonna warm up my curveball right now.
Oh man,
are you ready? Ready to take a swing at it?
All right, I'm getting my dictionary out to help me with these words here.
So what if somebody is in a position of leadership, say like a politician or what have you, where the nature of their role is that they have to impose their will on people? Now, is that a bad thing?
Let's go this way. If they are, now this goes into the idea of either it's elected or just put in place. Either way, it's the same thing. They're just put in place. So they are in a position to have an overall say-so of society. Okay, they can say and do whatever they wish as long as the people around them support it. People in power around them support it. They can do whatever they want. And the people in society, the normal non-politician people, the workers and, the at-home people, whatever, have to just eat it. Now, if you're put in a position to have a whole entire say-so of how a society is to run, then you're in that position because people have let it be that way. Doesn't mean whatever you say is to be good or whatever you say is for their higher good. No, most of the time it's for their own pockets, for their own money.
I guess, right. I guess in a way, if you look at it from a political perspective or a leadership perspective, it's almost just an extrapolation of the father-child or mother-child type relationship. Like,
well, I'm in this position to, I have the wisdom or I have the experience to lead, so I'm going to say this. And whether you like it or not, it's because if you don't like it, it's because you don't understand. And I understand. So I'm going to do this anyway. But in truth, there is a lot of imposition of one's will in leadership. And the problem is that they think they know exactly what they need to do. And if they don't think they know what they need to do, most of the time they're doing the wrong thing for money.
I wouldn't argue with that, sadly.
So if you had a person in politics who did not put in position of one's will but actually looked out for the greater good, the people would know that. Because if I turned around, let's say, okay, I'm not going to say me, but there you have a person who turns around and, okay, so happens to be elected president, amazingly elected this time, not put in place and then made to believe they're being elected. Yeah. And he says, you know what, all the spending on our military and all the crap we put in the world, you know what, let's take it back. Let's take our military spending and let's build up our educational infrastructure. Let's build up our social security infrastructure. Let's build up our social infrastructure and get all these people back on their feet. All the money we spend in military, we can hold off because, we are the ones who are making their own threats. And people know which country I'm talking about. And then, start developing the people. Now, people aren't going to say, I don't want you to build me a house. I don't want you to give me free heating. I don't want you to make all the food cheaper. I don't want the government to control the whole market and how things should be priced. Well, you really? Because you can't afford a loaf of bread. So I'm going to lower the price of loaves of bread. And I'm going to impose my will to lower the price of this industry. Lower the prices of goods in certain industries because people need them. And if the common people have a problem with that, then be my guest and spend your $5 on a loaf of bread when I can make it $1.50. If it's under my control. Now, who's going to have a problem? The companies who make millions and billions off of the people spending $5 on a loaf of bread. Well, you know what? You don't like it? Don't open your business. Then all of that closes down and people have a shortage of bread, and then you have the common people make their own bread companies. And it becomes local again. And now that chaotic situation that happened for a year, which people pissed off and want to shoot me and assassinate me, end up realizing they can't do anything about it because the 300 million people are sitting there going, I'd rather spend $1.50 on a loaf of bread locally than spend $5 and have it shipped from all over the friggin' country when I can just get it down the corner, homemade, out of the small little bakery down the corner. Now we put the power back in the people's hands. I don't think people are going to have a problem with that. That kind of imposition of will puts power back into the people. It doesn't put power in my pocket without the people's will. So therefore, I gain when everybody else has. True leadership is when you give to the people so they have. They will not want you to be out of a seat of power if they benefit from you in the best way possible, which is their basic necessities: living, housing, clothing, and food. If they have these three things and they can be stable with that, people will want you in office. They would not. They would wish you can stay there after your 8-year term.
Yeah, I mean, this could veer into what wise leadership is. And,
whatever.
Well, maybe that might be a good topic for another time, even.
Yeah, but in the old days, in ancient China, I'm not talking 1,000 years, which you had some in 1,000 years ago, but I'm talking a long, long time ago. I mean, before the country was all, quote unquote, united by, the Emperor Qin Shi Huang. I mean, you had different countries, you have different states, and you had officials who cared for people, and you had officials who cared for their own self. Okay, and those who cared for others were loved by the people. Okay, it's like, we want to develop our agriculture. Let's give people enough to eat. Let's take my wealth and spread it. I can have the highest wealth of the land, but let me develop the people's land with them. What better work than that? It's just people are either lazy or just too greedy and lazy. But I say, look, like in the old days when the countries wanted to go to war, the king or whoever was the king would go out and fight. They don't sit on their ass. Okay? And as I say now, imposing your will on other people, you know what? Then go in the front lines too, along with the people who you want fighting with you. But nobody would dare to do that. That would change the whole face of the world.
Yeah, it would imply too much risk or too much.
There's no risk when a person wants to put hundreds, thousands and thousands of other people to die first. The risk is that you do it first.
Right.
And then other people follow. If you have the great conduct and moral and benefit to do that, go and do it. If not, then shut up, don't do it. Imposing one's will is, if I want you to do it, that means I can do it too. So if it's the bad thing, then I should do the bad thing too.
And I
don't want the bad thing to happen to me. So I want you to have the bad thing and me to have the good thing. That's what we're talking about here.
I guess in some relationships too, like people, how do I word this? But people willingly enter into certain relationships where they accept that other people are going to be able to impose their will on them. And again, I guess it's the same thing as a politician, but you look at like a general or whatever, right? I mean, if you go in the military, you are in essence agreeing to that structure and agreeing to have someone's will kind of imposed on you. So, well,
you're literally giving yourself to another person. Do what you want with me because I'm going to be in the front lines to die anyway. That's the reason I signed up for. If I survive, then I get honored. If I don't survive, then, well, whatever. I may get honored, I may not. Depends. It's not, the army isn't what it used to be in the sense of the old historical armies of the ancient times, where people were praised for their ability to not just fight and conquer, but their ability to strategize and the ability to know what is the right way to do things. So the what do you call it? In English, the non-politicians, the workers, the people who live on the land, don't suffer. Those people who didn't help let those people suffer, they're praised. Those people who are murderers that just kill everything and anyone, they're praised by those who like that. That's all I can tell you. You know, it's like you got people who do stupid things to other people and do nice things to other people. And the people who they hurt are like, this guy's a moron. This guy's evil. How can you be friends with him? And the people who he's nice to are like, what are you talking about? This guy's an angel. Oh, well, you know, people can make mistakes too, so it's okay. Well, it's like having a piece of crap hanging from your nose every day, smelling it, and you just start to like it while the people around you are like, are you out of your mind? Take that off. It smells. Like, no, it smells like strawberries. You know, like, no, it smells like shit. Sorry. It smells bad. Stop. Why would you want that? See, there's a thin line between, here it comes with pushing your ideas on people. You know, it's a thin line between accepting others' ideas and just letting them be the way they are, you know, and accepting others' ideas. We tend to have a conflict with ourselves. Like when someone gives us advice, you know, now the conflict revolves around the idea of if this person's ideas are something that affects us personally or is inferior to our own. We have this idea, oh, is this person telling me that I'm an idiot? Or is this person telling me I'm great? You know, if this person's telling me, oh, the ideas are great, then I'm going to accept them. If they tell me I'm an idiot, then I'm going to tell them, you know what, you're great, you're crazy, this idea is stupid, I don't want to accept it because, you know, I'm now, the whole situation is I'm imposing my will on them, saying my ideas are better than theirs, and they are to shut up or stop talking because it's making me look like a fool. Okay, now you're putting, threatens the ego, right, egotism, oh yeah.
So you mentioned that this is sort of related to greed, right?
Yes.
Do you want to describe that or explain that?
No.
We'll take your word for it.
Usually when faced with others' ideas, views, or opinions, one tends to debate within their own mind if such concepts will benefit themselves in such way. Here's your greed. Okay, if such concepts will cause them to feel inferior to or show a lack within themselves. So if people are greedy for everything, praise, you know, this person says my idea is great, so that's good. This person says my idea is crazy. Oh no, I don't want that person around me, so I'm going to make them look to be crazy. Instead of them making me look to be crazy, I'm going to try to try to create a whole bunch of principles that match what I'm saying and make it sound so good that other people will agree to it. That's another form of passive imposition of one's will.
A lot of examples I've seen of this, imposing one's will on others, and it's sort of at the micro scale, but marriages or especially love relationships, I think, are probably one of the biggest culprits of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people like to argue, well, you know, in a relationship you have to give and take, and, you know, no, it's not that you have to give and take when someone tells you what you should do. I mean, if it's kind of obvious that you're a lazy person, and the person's saying, look, why don't you clean the house at least? Oh, stop making me feel like I'm a prisoner or I am your slave. Whoa. If two people are living together and accept each other, then do stuff that empowers each other. So if one is at home all the time, clean the damn house because that is your home. That is your castle. That is your extension of your whole entire mind and being. Okay, for me, I work all day long. I come home. So I help straighten out the house. So what? My wife has to watch the kid, clean the house. She has to cook. She has to clean clothes, whatever. I clean the clothes. When she can't do it, I do it. No questions asked because we live in the same place. We are here to uplift the whole entire family. That's the goal. So you just do.
I'm just joking.
Yeah, it's not whip, man. It's responsibility. Okay? I mean, when a person leaves their clothes all over the couch and all over the place, and you tell them, hey, look, can you tidy up a bit? And they start getting upset. Well, there's a problem here. Who's the one imposing one's will? I like being lazy. I like being dirty. I'm going to leave my shit all over the place. Like, whoa. Okay? It's like, you know, get rid of your own place.
I guess people should really examine, like, you know, when it feels like somebody's imposing their will on us, I guess the first thing to do would be examine and say, where, like, why, I'm trying to think how to express this, but okay, if you have a reaction to it, or if it kind of feels like you're being hit, like, you should examine why you feel that way, right?
Yeah, you should question, why do I feel aggressive towards this person for telling me what they see me as? Okay, especially in relationships, you know, when you expect the other person to do certain things and they don't, and you say, why don't you do this? And that person goes, well, who the hell do you think you are telling me what I should be doing? Why don't that person sit there and go, how does this person believe they should be telling me such things? Do I act like this? Most likely the case is yes. I'm sorry, but most of the cases, yeah. I mean, do you think people just want to randomly cause an argument with you? Unless they want something from you. Like if they want to kill you. Yeah, if they're those kind of demons who like to suck your energy dry, or, and feed off your emotion of suffering, or want something from you and hopefully hope you disappear after they get it, that's different. And if you can see through that, then you stop it as soon as possible. But if they're just like, this person really doesn't give you problems, then why don't you just, geez Christ, just put the clothes in the laundry, put them in the washing machine or something. I say, well, why would they actually say this to me? How dare they say this to me? What is it that they do what is it that I do that they think they need to tell me this? Oh, that's what I don't do.
Well, sometimes people expend more energy fighting than, if it's like, why don't you put your shirt in the hamper? No, I don't want to put my shirt in the hamper. Why are you telling me I have to put my shirt in the hamper? They'll spend 10 minutes arguing when they could have just taken 5 seconds, picked the shirt up and put it in the hamper.
There you go. Right. So most of the time it's when a person feels inferior because they have views of a self. Okay? So it's accepting others' ideas. It's like you give advice to someone, Accepting others' ideas does not mean to let people do as they wish. It simply means that you understand how you view what others insist and actually understand how they come to what they hold in views, actions, and principles. Okay? It all leads to eliminating the imposition of one's will on another. So,
a quick question. So, when you enter into a relationship like a marriage or a partnership or something, sorry, you can tell I probably have some baggage here in the back of my closet. Not presently, but in the past, of course. So, when you enter into these relationships, do you, in some manner, almost sort of agree to some level of allowing others to impose their will on you?
There should not be an idea of there being an allowance of this or an allowance of that, or a not dealing with this or not dealing with that. When you accept that person, that's what you would take from them. Now, it doesn't mean you're stuck with that way, that they cannot improve themselves or change because you married them and that's it. Oh, that's the way I am. You married me. You knew I was like this, so you just got to deal with it. You're not like a machine. You can't keep. You can be upgraded. You can change.
It's called divorce.
It's called divorce. No, people don't want to change because they feel inferior. Like when someone tells them this is something that I hope you can do, it's like, well, why do I have to do what you say? It's like, whoa, all I'm saying is, look, we're human. And there's ways to make things better. I don't like this specific thing that happens. So would you mind if I just throw my dirty underwear everywhere? And when we have guests come over, they can see our dirty underwear hanging from the ceiling fan. Is that okay with you? Because if that's okay with you, that's cool. I'll call up people right now and let them see your underwear, your bra and your socks and my underwear hanging all over the place. Hope you're not embarrassed by it. Really.
Some people wouldn't be.
Probably, and most people will say, I don't give a damn, just because they don't want to lose face and say, you're right. They're afraid to say you're right because they're afraid to look at themselves and say, wait, I should change because this just does not feel good. Does not feel good. Why does it not feel good? Because they have conflict. And so people want to deny that they have conflict because they always want to be in a sense of superiority. Most people want to feel like they are always right, and they're afraid to say they're wrong.
No, they don't.
What are you talking about, Willis?
All right, so what should we do? Like, how can we fix this? Obviously there's
You said it before. It was really just take a look at why are these things the way they are? Why are these things being told to me? If it is other people telling you, hey, look, you do such and such things, it's kind of annoying. Can you change it? No, it doesn't matter how people say it to you. A lot of people want to do the cop-out and say, well, you should tell me this in a better way. Why do you have to yell and scream it to me? It's like, whoa, wait a second. It's just this way. Okay, you can take it whichever way you want from here to, wherever. The fact is, it is this way. Can we do something about it?
So, okay, that's fine. But what if, on the other hand, you're dealing with somebody who's
trying to poison your food and set you up to kill you or get you arrested?
More or less, yeah, in so many words.
You get out of there. You get out as soon as possible. They won't change. You're stuck with murder. Now, in the old days, it was you don't get divorced. You deal with whatever you got coming to you. And most people had a more sense of, relationship in the sense of I'm not just going to get married to anybody. make sure this person is not psychotic to a degree. And most people dealt with their relationship and lived miserably most part. But who said happiness has to be what you get? I mean, sometimes you make your decision and you deal with your consequences. And in our day and age now, we got it very simple. Except when someone's chasing you with an axe and you say, look, I can actually get you out of my life. I'm going to do that.
Well, crazy women can be a great expedient for cultivation too.
Yes, it can if you're willing to do that. You can handle it as long as you want, and you realize, say, this person's really going to cause a lot more problems than themselves, and I'm going to get myself in a whole lot of crap. Let's just cut it short here, stop, and deal with it legally, which in an energetic aspect, legal issues take a lot of your good fortune away. Not only your money for legal fees, but getting what you want. Even let's say you're wrong and you do get what you want legally, you still swindled, you still cheated. Just because you went with the law or you found loopholes in the law doesn't mean it's not wrong. And then if you get what you want and you know that you're right, 100%, legal or not, you know it's the right thing to get out or to change something, and you do it legally, that's still also a use of one's fortune, energetic fortune, like the good things that come to you. It's a use of all that energy because you put a lot of focus into having that specific outcome, and it comes. Even if you were right, morally correct or virtuously correct and legally correct, and it was a no breeze kind of thing, it's still that these things are used. Just think of it as credit, and you use up this credit thing and you have to build it up again. So don't just sit on your ass and say, okay, the world is fine. I got rid of these psycho people out of my life. I'm going to stick my feet up in the air and relax and recline for the next 20 years. You don't do anything good. Well, then, there's a problem. So you always got to replenish by continuing the action itself of virtue. So anyway, that was a mouthful.
Yeah. It always gets like that when we start talking about women in relationships, I guess. I shouldn't single out women because there's certainly a large amount of crazy men out there.
Hey, look, it's just not men in relationships, it's men in their own friendship relationships, right, who think who they are. There's men who are in politic relationships. There's men who are in business relationships. And there's men who are just in any relationship that can just be total egotistical psychopaths.
And they're usually the ones that seem to, I hate to use the word excel, but sort of climb to the top in their own minds and accumulate the most toys and the most money, most dollar bills, right? It seems to be the psychos that do the best at that.
Right, because they know how to swindle people. They know how to lie to themselves. They're pros at lying to themselves, so they try to be pros at doing it to others. And it doesn't mean that they rise to the top. Is money really the top? I mean, we can curse out money all we want, but is money good the way we use it? That's what it is. Is it good or bad by the way we use it? So it doesn't matter if someone has millions of dollars and they lie to all these people or whatever. It doesn't mean they're great or they're really smart or whatever. They just know this way. They know this game.
They know how to impose their will.
So what? It doesn't mean that they're great people. It just means that they have a lot of money. But what is the top in our society? It is money. The people put in our materialistic society, money means you're on the top. The more money you have, the more power or influence in the world you have. And you should be a great person, but not great in virtue. We view great now in our world as having money.
Yeah, it
doesn't mean a virtue. For us cultivators, it's virtue.
It's almost like they're climbing the highest mountain in hell.
Well, I mean, is their life really all, peaceful and what we cultivators would strive for? Our cultivators, we want to let it rain hail. Let it hail on us, and we'll have to learn how to deal with it.
To quote the notorious B.I.G., more money, more problems, right?
Yeah.
With wisdom of B.I.G.
With Biggie Smalls.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry,
man.
yeah. All right, so why don't we discuss, like I guess we kind of just did, but is there any other specific methods or techniques you want to talk about? Or
it is simply just asking. It's what you said before, asking. Why are these things being said, or why are these things being done? Is it that I am such a way? Am I such this way that people would say these things to me? And if you're not, then don't worry. And if you are, well, then change.
All right. Do you want to end on that note?
Sure.
All right. I did manage to find a little quote here. This is kind of interesting, but we all know so goddamn well what's best for other people that it seems unnecessary we get to know them before imposing our will on them. And that's from someone named Taylor Nadeau in a book called The Death of Edwin Hubble.
Cool. Wow. How did you find that quote? That's awesome.
I am very, very good.
You are very good. You are very, very good.
Well, thanks again, Lynn, for joining us.
Hey.
And spreading your wisdom and confusion. And thanks, everybody, for listening to Expedient Means with Lynn Away and Time on Radio. Please join us next week as we discuss arbitrariness, and this will sort of be a continuation of this.
Yes, it was
the Noble Truth series.
Noble Way
series.
The cultivation of the noble way.
All right, thanks, Lynn. That's right.
Oh yeah.